Hello and welcome. Today is Friday, the 7th day of July 2017. Welcome. My name is Derek. Let's go over some cryptocurrencies, technical analysis. I have a lot to go over. Everything I say in this video is what I think, what I am doing, how I see the analyzation of such. Any decisions you make is at your own risk, own reward. So then, without further ado, let's get started. This is the market cap within the cryptocurrency spanning 3 months from April the 7th to date. And it's right now falling again below this 100 level, showing a lot of the sideways consolidation that a lot of these markets have been having. Amazing, if not sick, secular, huge moves to the upside. And a lot of them have been going sideways, albeit with some price corrections along the way. If you're wondering what a roller coaster is like in these things, well, when you have gains that are 3x, 6x, 9x, even 100x and more in some cases, and then you're going to have to experience it. Well, if you go up 100x and you have a 75, 80% pullback, that's a pretty healthy retracement in these sick markets. That's what the roller coaster is all about. So a lot of these wild moves are coming into play. What's the chances that this range breaks to one side or another? I wish I could give you the answer. I think it's favored to the upside, but that's just what I think. And the market's obviously going to do what it's going to do. It is a free market at this stage, and the buyers have been in control for quite some time. They haven't let go. But obviously a lot of the codes have much cheaper prices, but oftentimes these sideways consolidations patterns do resolve themselves within the path of least resistance or current trend, which is higher. And until you have one of these clear breaks down below basically this level here and the huge mark in this point, everything will be neutral. Let's move on to the daily Bitcoin chart. Price action down 97.39, $97.39, or 3 3/4%. What happens in the stock market if it loses 3 3/4? They call that a crash. Here it's just a regular, not that large of a down day, because the size of this red candle compared to some of the ones that precede it is, well, it's not that big. There's some smaller ones in here, but there are some bigger ones as well. It's a very volatile market that is correcting sideways with a beautiful series of higher lows and really anything. I think I stated the 18 average of lows in or around that area, finding support there. Huge, huge. And these higher lows have to signify that the market has yet to break down. And it's at one of those stages where it's at a critical point. I know it's a war term, but D-Day is how I call it. It's decision day is why I named it that way. Nothing to do with that. It's like this. That's why I named it such, decision day. And we're at a point here where this ascending and descending triangle is at its complexion point. Yeah, you can say that the downtrend line has been taken out, but when that happens, you need further upside momentum, and this red candle day obviously doesn't do such. So it does state that this thing could have an interesting move as it goes forward, but overall it's still in this long sideways consolidation. I'm drawing 4 lines because this is the recent range, and it's still kind of neutral with extra pierces above and below these points. And let's move on. There's no need to show the shorter term time frame because it's also choppy as anything. Let's put the next chart up. Ethereum is breaking from its 18 average of lows. The last 2 times it did such was first in here, and it had an okay move. Then it did it in here, but it had a green candle up and a bunch of nothing. So again, a lot more of this sideways action. And look at the size of these up moves. Go from 8, less than that, of course, to 400. And then when you look at this logarithmically, this correction move from 400 to what's now 238, close to 50% off, is really just a very small correction at the moment. The Ether cross with Bitcoin is also breaking down from this 18 average as well, broken down below the short-term support. next key level is this, well, no, it looks like it's there, but this support line in here. Breaking that, we'd be looking at first, this is where it came from, but it does look, just by simply eyeballing the chart, that this single 06 number is a key area for where it came from. But on the short-term level, you'd be thinking here first. The classic ETC, it's grinding its way in this lower area, having several congestion tests within this point. 60 would be its previous support, and where it came from last, it looks like a hair below the 50 number in here. And with all of these charts in the down motion, I'm going to talk about these key support levels because that's basically where it needs to, or where it looks like it's going to. But as far as upward targets are concerned, step one, you got to get back within the band, and then you can't even entertain the fact about anything short-term being bullish or within its time frame until you can at least be over the 18 average of highs. And when you're lower than that, well, it's the opposite of bullish. It's on the bearish side. Dash, on the other hand, it's above the 18 average of highs, so it's got a different story. I've been talking a lot about this bull happy face formation within this chart, but as the recent time frame has been playing out, nice little rally which has pretty much broken out to that key point in here, where if you see a move like that, I'm expecting it to go into here. But wait a second, 85 or so is where I'd be expecting it to go higher, and it's down to 77. Well, yeah, of course. Back down to this 18 average of highs, very close to this key area for where it was. And oftentimes when this happens, you get moves like this. You break out here and you have a correction again. My bias for this is that it's probably going to hold within the correctionary phase if it needs any further ones. I don't think it does need it as within this pattern, but if it does, I'm staying bullish within my sentiment and expecting with a lot of these markets, when it's ready to take off, holy SHIT, you know what's going to happen. Before in here, oh, let's break some key resistance in at about 15, or yeah, we'll call that like 15, and you go all the way up to 120. Ooh, wow, 8x, 9x, and look how fast it happened. Here you're at like 18 a few days later. Oh, you've already done better than double. And then you have the harsh correction going from like 40 down to like 26 or 27. Just a small bullish correction above the 18 average. And you have the beautiful, well extended moves that happens when you get that setup of breaking out from the 18 average of highs with great gains. And this is what it's showing it wants to do in the pattern. And if this thing does ultimately fail, this is what I'm looking at as the failed breakdown, but that's on the if case scenario. And this happens more from my observations in the what I call the not as free market than it does in this free one. Let's move on to the next chart. Litecoin, and it's having a nice little pattern, up move, which came back to correct, up move, and now back within this 18 average of lows, or of highs. It's going low to that point. Thus, the bull market's making now patterns of what we have, a higher high. This is where the low comes in, and holding this 18 average of lows and piercing it below, well, that's totally fine as well. Definitely in the bullish scenario. This one didn't have that big of a push, but you know what? Neither did this one here. It came back to the bed and boom, there's a nice move in here. And this point in here, nice move, back down. Barely beating it, sort of like in here, barely beating it, back to it, and boom. I mean, this is the types of things you can expect. So I don't know if it's going to take, like, say, I don't know, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months to have a big move. But if I'm holding and waiting for it, ready to sell when the big gains happen, then that's how my strategy is working out, and I like it that way. Let's move on to the next chart. Ripple is now at this little support level, looking to possibly fall from this 18 average of lows. It's still got this little area in here. But as I've been stating, watch out, this thing could have some wild moves, and I don't want to be a buyer for quite a while. This is the area that I want to be, though. Decred or DCR is next, and like a lot of the markets, we can see in the earlier part of these daily charts, up move and then correcting mainly sideways. This one, no exception to that. It has had a retest close to its previous high, and it has been recently trading this sideways range at the upper floor as support, where before we can see it was resisted in this area. With that being said, it's right now showing weakness after resisting this 18 average and now starting to fall below it. That if it goes to below here, you can make a case that it's going to take the elevator one floor lower to where it partied for quite a while back in here. And like a lot of these other charts with the sideways range, this is where the big support level is and the big resistance is in here. Everything is neutral within this sideways manner. And I'm looking for probably a big, decent sized move, regardless of which way it breaks. But oftentimes, these sideways movements result themselves in the path of least resistance, which is higher, like a lot of these codes are. Let's move on to the Bittrex side of things and take a look at PTOY. It says 1 minute time frame, but it's actually the hourly. Very new chart. And a lot of times I'm thinking these are good ones to, if you want to just take a little while, just a day trade. You can put these on the 1 minute time frame, 5 minute time frame, 30 minute, and go from there. But looking at pattern recognition for this, since it's up move, this is where it had an obvious key bottom, and it had several attempts in trying to break this 9,000 handle, and obviously failed to do such, with a breakdown occurring in here, the up and down choppiness, and this looks like it's continuing to fall. So if I've seen this for the first time, I'm thinking, can I short this? If I can, that would be a bet I would consider possibly doing. But just by blandly looking at a chart like this, really the only thing I can do is either A, wait to buy here at 6,000, or I need to see some sort of bullish setup, and I would have been stating in here, yeah, clear break above 9,000, which never would have happened. NMR is next on the request list, also the hourly time frame. As this continues to stay in a down market, don't have the 18 average on here. I don't really think it's needed. It's obviously going lower. I played this once. I made one buy and one sell. I bought in at 15 on the 27th of June, which probably would have been in here, and I sold at 27 on the 1st of July, and I've done nothing since. So this is a situation where a lot of times within my strategy, if you just put a sell order in and then just leave it and then don't look at it, sometimes you'll get notified later, oh, wait a second, sell order in 27, which is what occurred for me. Oh, and some people might have been stopped out in here. Oftentimes, if you are feeling that these moves are going to happen, but you just know they're going to go back up, then there's a couple strategies. Hold and wait, or two, buy more when they go lower. I know nothing about this. I would only now go Fibonacci to determine where I think this can go, because I'm looking for a downtrend, and then a downtrend of a good correction. There's only been one good correction, and that's from these last two arrows from here to here. So now what I want to do is I want to take the high, which is around 30, divided by the low, which would be a little over 10. So that would be about 2.7. So I'm going to divide that number. So 2.7 or so to the root of negative 61.08%. Multiply the low. The answer for that will be about 637 handle. So that's where I got a buy order in, because this is the significant move, and that's what the numbers tell me. So that's what I'm playing, is a buy order in at around 0063. Now I'm going to show you everything I was buying and selling on Bittrex today. AMP, I bought in at 115 today, as this is an area in which it came from. I also can look at points like in here as a good sell target. And if you think that this thing could really take off, then be happy that you're getting these cheaper prices, and you'll eventually see them go higher. But I've gotten my sell orders in where part of it's in here, one sell order here, one sell order in here, and leaving some of the tokens back. That's how I'm playing it right now. Another new one and fun, I figured from this move in here that it would have a move to go to 475, which is where I bought 475. Currently trading in around 530, but I'll be looking to, I wasn't around at the time. I probably should have had a seller already in here, but for what it's worth, I think selling in here for one level, half to three quarters is what I'll be looking to do. And you need to be fast sometimes because these things can have its quick move and then roll over. And if that's the case, again, looking at the high and the low, 293 would be the down target. This is a 1 minute time frame, showing you how wild these moves are. And if I was paying attention to the computer at this time, which I probably should have been, wow, some wild moves going down from 400 up to over 500, back down to 4, back over 550, back 425. Wild, wild movements to say the least. Let's move on to the next chart. Pay is next. No 18 average on this. 5 minute time frame, not much data to go on. I had a buy order in at 42.5, which executed right here, selling out of about 60% at around 47, and I've done nothing since this point. But when you see the new codes, you can just see the volatility that can happen really, really fast. And let's move on to the next one, which will be Ant shares. And I bought for the first time in at 270 today. Looking to buy next at previous low, which is in at around the 20 handle. And then from that point on, we can use old school Fibonacci from key low to, or key breakout to key high. And let's calculate that now. 207 represents a 23.6 correction. Already tested it a few times. Could do such again as its final correction, meaning it will go in a sideways range before breaking out again. But if it does fail this correctionary mode, and we are looking for a 38.2% down correction from the March breakout, we're looking at around 114 or so. And I can just show you the numbers from what I calculated. 114 as a 38.2 down, yet it says 61.8. That's because mathematically 61.8% on the way up is 114, and 38.2% on the way down is the same number. But that's what I'll be looking for, and where my buy order is, if of course the 20 handle is taken out. So I got 2 buy orders in. Okay, cash on the weekly time frame is next. I bought this a hair over 5,000, trading in at 51 at this stage. And this is a nice, beautiful, volatile, moving market, which is correcting within its 18 average weekly band. And I can do Fibonacci calculations to the upside, yes, because I take this high and I can take this low. And that gets me an up target in at around the 173 handle, which is just a moderate gain of a little over, that would be 1,000 would be 100%, so 200+%, or about 3x gains. That's why I like to use those numbers, because 14x is 1,300%. And a lot of them can have those sick moving gains. Heck, you go from 1,000 to 9,000, how you doing, basically? And the final chart will be GAM Gambit, and we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, which has its bottom and at the end of 2015. So it's been bullish for 1.5 years, starting off with an uptrend here, sideways, and it's still in this uptrend. Nothing to stop it as of yet. I bought in today at 265, and I bought everything that I sold last time at 311. So that's what I do. If I sell something, I'm like, do I want to buy it back and I'll pick a number, and well, that's what ended up coming towards me. But I like this bull run, and that will be it for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any requests, please send them in the morning 2.5-minute warning video. And that is what I'll be looking at. And yes, take care and have a good weekend.